Welcome to our lovely future humans. To those who are new, we're going to start with when you are using the emotional resilience work of your own embodied brain. It is because you are able to be yourself the smart way. You are striving to bring your A game, and so you're also leading a healthy life. Self-regulation, very important. And with that, I'm going to give you a couple of data points on neuroplasticity and our lovely neurobiology and our embodied brain. And that's where, if you do know the body and ventral vagal state, that's what our topic on TikTok is going to involve. How we bring mental ease thanks to self-regulation, and then you're self-aware, accountable, and reflective with the inner growth mindset. And so neuroplasticity shares also how the bright sides, when you are creating good neuroplasticity, that means you're going to become an integrated brain. And so it means you're willing to be vulnerable, by the way. Masculine's unimpressive ego by itself, but empowered masculine, impressive, and like Orion's messages, emotionally intact, emotionally intelligent, knowing what our herd is made to do, excel human beings. We are always thriving to the next level. And so whether it's from the stars or from science, we do know how to consistently go with the flow. Neuroplasticity, in 6 to 8 weeks, you will have new synapses, connections are created. And then we have laying down of myelin. There's a whole process to it. And by the time everything settles in, you have 3,000 times more effective in their communication, the brain. And I met a man who told me a story. It was amazing about how his active neuroplasticity immediately was ready to help heal his brain. But that also means you self-regulate. Okay, so here's where with Steve Cole, PhD, we have a quote I'm going to read from him. Your experiences today will influence the molecular composition of your body for the next 2 to 3 months of your life. And as the Polyvagal Institute shares, our daily experiences don't just shape how we feel, they shape us at a cellular level. And Steve Cole reminds us our biology responds to our lived experience. So he is an expert on the human genome. He is also a professor and researcher. And that is why when Dr. Amy Pegan talks about bad resilience, she's talking about people who need to go to therapy because they have neuroception explained, how your nervous system decides what's safe and why it matters for healing. So when a body is rejecting healthy lifestyle choices, eating and exercise and thinking, it's not willpower, as she points out, and it's not motivation. It's the body's security system that's still under stress. And so you can't talk sense to people who don't want to accept that neurobiology, neuroscience, all the good mental health professionals are informing them, okay, healthy diet, great, all that lifestyle stuff. But first, you get your embodied brain to be able to self-regulate. And that's the moment of truth. So here we already are self-regulating. We're being ourselves the smart way. When we meet those whose CPTSD is not getting better, we know, thanks to Patrick Tiahan, that their disturbance in self-organization involves relationships, emotions, and affect that they're not able to have a window welcome with, and they don't own the sense of self. And so they are feeling stressed out and maybe overwhelmed. They're going to go to their maladaptive patterns of behavior, binge eating, binge drinking, binge everything, binge watching, blah, blah, blah. Inner outer critic. And so the ones who are ignoring that there's a healthy way of living because there's mental fitness, mental health fitness, wellness as a lifestyle, they scribble on a board, they don't have the healthy anger, healthy sadness, healthy fear, healthy surprise, healthy happiness, healthy disgust, their emotional body cut off. So as long as they choose to disregard that which is they're numbing themselves because it gets scary to feel, they're ignoring the science that has the answers. And in fact, in those moments, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, you are not willing to transform. Whatever does not transform is as good as dead. Thank you, Sadhguru. And so they will not become that which is their A game because they've decided that their B game, mediocre behavior, mediocre everything, is what they want. They also follow those who are limited in their beliefs. They will be argumentative for no other reason except for they don't want to hear. They cherry pick. They in fact have all of their scientists. And so average people get distracted by opinions, and really they also choose those pseudo-intellectuals. Successful people, we hear them and then we move them to the side because we don't want that small-mindedness to become a part of, well, really it's easy to spot. Stay away from small-minded people. They can't see any further than their limiting beliefs. And so when you tap into the infinite higher human conscious potential view, you're not going to be confused. You discern easily. The happiest people, he knows, Dan Martell, I was reading a couple of Dan Martell quotes, by the way, are givers, not takers. And, well, we all can say that people think all humans are selfish, but are we? Well, we all are if I come plug your nose. Okay, so living that life of true spirituality means that you can accept, respect, and welcome all. We don't have to tolerate or have compassion for people who choose to actually think that they're doing the best for themselves. Remember, we've talked about it. Smart people choose restored embodiment resilience. We use prefrontal, and our empowered feminine is also an empowered masculine. We do know who and what we are is an expression of the divine. Thank you, said Guru. It means we're a pure piece of consciousness, and that our personality is a filter through which our temperament deals with us as one nervous system body being here on earth. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. And in the state of awareness, as he points out, we become aware of who we really are. And it isn't the personality patterns, but we do work with them. And so we work with our personality patterns. We know that being a leader does not mean dominating the situation. It means empowering people to do what they would not have imagined possible. Thank you, said Guru. We also believe not to put people through that which is bullshit, especially if you've been through shit. So we don't reject people just because they're not perfect. We're all not perfect. And if you think you can half-heartedly love someone, well, then you don't love anyone. Okay, so when you're doing anything half-assedly, that's why B-game players are B-game players for a reason. But love is where we can make mistakes, we can say we're sorry, we can care about each other's inner and outer well-being, and that means accepting those who don't want to. Notice that their gratification, their small dopamine hits are not relational joy. So when someone is not invested in growing, this is why they are not willing to be vulnerable, they're not willing to transform, because they're not connecting with their feminine. Their empowered feminine is not. So it's only once you're self-regulating that you will be able to strive for excellence the healthy way and be yourself the smart way. 5D Mystic, points of view, stories, you all know this, mentor, content creator, podcast host, and as Orion shared in the short messages today, emotionally resilient people know leadership because they're smart with their prefrontal. So we don't actually go and tell someone that they have to do anything, but we do know how to talk to people about how we care and why we care, and then to leave it alone. And so I was trying to look for something else that we've been looking into, but being vulnerable means that you're able to accept that the way that we live life is going to be different. And so some people don't want to heal. It's not because they don't want it, but it's also not self-sabotage. They will consistently reject that which they are comfortable not with. So they choose their comfort and they choose their stories because they're not healing the trauma. They're allowing it to rule them. So they allow their maladaptive patterns to become what they are. And if they've been modeled grandiosity, it's coming from that. If they've chosen to copy that which is an ego that doesn't give a shit about other people's opinions by thinking that their opinion is the right one. Okay, so there's different ways that you become more aware, and it doesn't mean that people know that you're aware that we all live a subjective experience. No, it just means that some of us are aware, accountable, regulate, and say we're sorry if people's feelings are hurt, and we mean it, and then we also remember who they are. So you get to learn about people like my facade friend and who he is. So some will like the gratification little, pokety poke, and that's why they don't really care about your feelings. And when you care about it, they're going to continue living. 3D 4D isn't going anywhere. I didn't know about this. And in the meantime, we're going to continue talking about that which is a mind. That's right. That's what I've been trying to read to you. That way, if you want to join us, you can join us on TikTok. One moment. Here it is, 3:30 to 4. The power of mental rest is yours, within you. The body and ventral vagal state, emotional resilience, and the growth mindset. So we're going to look at reflective practices, routine integration, inspiration moments, relaxation rituals. So I'm going to go ahead and get prepared for that. And you can join us on TikTok again. If you don't, it's okay. I might be able to post it here. I'll find out later if I get to download it. But please do remember that when you have people who are continuing to use, evil and definitions and demons, they really are simply allowing themselves to taint that which they don't like with this big, big word that to us doesn't mean anything, because big words don't mean things, words don't mean things. What I'm trying to say is we know when we're learning from people that means something because they expand us. When someone's dismantling it, they get boring. They're like Gargamel. You still will respect that. You will hear it because you're smart, like any warrior, hunter, and expanding star person or earth person. No, basically, a smart brain will not care that we have grandiose in front of us because that's where ego's at. We also know it's bullshit because that's why an inner child that has no need to be reparented knows what a manipulative person looks like. You're an idiot because I don't know everything. I'm curious to learn more things. So an inner child that doesn't need reparenting is not going to be offended by people with chips on their shoulders or pseudo-intellectuals. You see what I'm saying? And when somebody is offended, we'll say sorry because we don't want people to be offended, but we're not going to strive to change who we are because they don't know how to accept differences. And when people have an issue with that, it's because they want to divide things in right or wrong. Those who are vulnerable know we're subjectively living life all the time, again, by our own body's experience, and those who don't get healed are watching their fucking back all the time, so we get to meet a bunch of masculines who are not empowered, who think they know what hunting and gathering does, and they even think that they know what humans are made of while they don't, because they continue to think that we need to be eaten or destroyed. Watch movies, watch sitcoms. Stereotypes, generalizations, all the ones who have no capacity to dream big. Dream no small dreams, for they have no power to move the hearts of men. Thank you, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. So, I get to tell you, I can do it, you can do it. Being yourself the smart way. I can use my ventral vagal state and a whole self, so can you. I'm a mystic, you might be one too, maybe not. But even if you're not, you got science, information, you hang out with different people. That's how easy it is. And the ones who don't like equanimity, they don't know how to be discerning. They also don't know love. They don't have the principal ingredient of life, love, because they're being defensive. And so when you're around intellectually, emotionally intelligent people, you'll know because it's amazing. When I hear Neil deGrasse talking, I love the man. I make fun of the whole talking down, but that's just because we're woo-woo pseudoscience. But I love whenever I'm hearing him in Cosmos, whenever he's doing any of his stuff. And then I love other smart ones. And then I love learning from pseudo-intellectuals too. But I like to spot where their bullshit is at and then make fun of them here and stuff like that. So being vulnerable means that I will allow myself always to be seen. But I won't ask someone or impose that they be vulnerable too. And so you don't make someone delight in themselves. You don't make someone become their true self. You don't. And although I wish that it were true, if you treat an individual as he is, he will remain how he is. But if you treat him as if he were what he ought to be and could be, he will become what he ought to be and could be. It's not right to treat people how they are, meaning judge them and cast a stone. This is again Johann Wolfgang. But treating them as who they ought to be, like my facade friend or all these other people, doesn't mean they're going to get out of becoming, they're not going to get out of their emotionally immature mannerisms. Okay, so there's a bunch of people, I've told you stories recently that just let me know how their good life involves very not good things. And it's like, okay, look, I do a little bit of all sloppiness, a little cigar, a little alcohol, but I'm actually, wielding things in certain ways, but this isn't even all of it because they don't care about that mental fitness or wellness lifestyle. They don't care to actually address that which is within them. They don't even believe in it. I found it hard to believe. The first is like, what? You don't believe in scientists. So, wow. So you want to make fun of me, the Reiki master, and say, I don't believe in Reiki. Yeah, don't believe in Reiki. I'm totally cool with skeptics all over the place, but you want to tell me that you know more? When someone says, I'm so sorry, you're going to be rejected, because it's kind of like when I got told demonic possession, what are you, rack job? I didn't say you didn't see what you saw. I said science proves there's no demon inside of someone, and God, by the way, sent his child Jesus to tell us we're all doing it. You're all amazing. Anyone? Like, hello, don't you hear? Oh no, if we let all in, then the bad juju will be in. I see. That's really not convincing. Any smart human being will be like, wow, unimpressive. That's how it feels when you meet morons who believe these people who use words that way, and it's not that they believe. It's that they have effective realism. I want it to be a world about what is right. Now it feels right. It means that their strong feelings make them think they know facts. The teenage boyfriend, when he argued with me, you don't believe in God. You're just afraid of death. I'm afraid of death because I don't want to die. It's not that I'm afraid of death. I like living. I'm pure consciousness like anybody else is. When you're embodying it, you're like, why would I want to go away? I'm so curious. I'm still learning things. I know humanity is going to make it to tomorrow because that's how it works. And hopefully science continues to do great because we need protection from dark matter, dark energy, or I don't know. We need them to know what the fuck's going on. And the stars and the cosmos. So the point is, though, in that moment, I knew where his bias was coming from. His friend killed himself. He got cheated on, not to mention what he did next was even more hilarious. For the entire time that we're in a relationship, and someone, were you stupid? No, I wasn't. I was in a relationship that was committed where we could talk. The ones who still are actually grown-ups looking at how to not get cheated on, I'm like, wow, I just saw a guy explain to people. I'm like, that just sounds so technical. I thought that you would be, so when you love people, you're not concerned with the cheating or not cheating. Even without polyamory, I wasn't concerned with it in a way of, oh my God, my honor or some shit like that. It's okay. I told you I'm not jealous. You're not mine. I'm not yours. Like this is, I don't know what you've, whatever. We talked about it. Let's, move past it. That second time, did the same thing. Third time, I said, okay, look, this is getting ridiculous. Now it's getting childish, actually, because we're older. Where I'm 18, he's 19. Just decide what you want to do. I mean, it's been 3 years. It's not that hard, So, no, I didn't want out of the relationship. I was doing good because that's the part of where when you're yourself, you're not canceling who you are for anyone else. You're not giving parts of you or pieces of you to people. Yeah, I said, this is who I am. You know that. I don't change. I will accept who you are. And that's why, again, love is not about us changing each other. Love is we welcome and accept each other, but we will be there for that which is called support. And so, supporting means that I'm going to address very important issues and topics. But there's no need for conditions. That's one part that I differ from those who may think that conditions are necessary in a way of, let me give you an ultimatum. That's the part of Terry Real. He's really great for couples that need that type of conversation. But that's where if you're suffering for someone else's choices, which is why when I say you don't fuck with mui, the mui is the biosphere of ours. Mui is from Dr. Daniel Siegel. Biosphere is lovely Terry Real. And as he points out, relational joy, Terry Real, is what is amazing. But some people won't care about that because they're into their dopamine hit. So it's like my facade friend and other friends that I have who are little spiteful teenager versions of themselves. One of my friends, they will actively irritate me on purpose. So that's something that's childish. I'm used to it. I grew up. I know how I can handle it without involving those who are not caring. They don't care. If they cared, then they would stop. You know what I mean? Like this is the part of where it's clear where we have personality patterns, temperament. We get to talk about things. We also get to know each other so that it's not like, again, black or white, meaning, oh my God, if you continue being this way, my facade friend, he's still my friend. So you get to put up with each other, kind of like Sid, Manny, Diego, but there is a difference with some of those topics. So relational joy will be of interest to those of us who are interested in that which is, again, an open-hearted, but you'll self-regulate by differentiating. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, which is why you don't fuck with me, meaning that I'll pick up on your guitar string, you might pick up on mine. Half-hearted people, meaning those who use only one side, they won't pick up on anything. They're not in it for the relational joy, you see? That's why, as Terry Real points out, adaptive child part, black and white thinking, harsh, unforgiving, rigid, ego, masculine, it's all about them. What they want, what makes them happy, everything. And they will taint every single bit of what you will present in a certain way. So that's why he talks about conditions. But that's for people who don't know how to be happy in life by themselves, meaning with an oversoul that is different. And so you will know you, but if you're doing emotional resilience work, you're not actually looking at unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds, unexpecteds, and people as a variable that motivates or triggers you. If anything, they're simply that which for an empowered feminine, they've always been. The opportunity for me to choose consistently to recalibrate, to protect, to stay open-hearted, and to become more of the best version, because that's exactly why you get more curious. And when you meet buffoons, you're like, oh my God, that's hilarious. You don't even notice it. So the energetic imprint of that, which is small little hits of gratification for those who get off on it, very unimpressive again, not something like, oh my God, I'm so offended, because there's no chip on the shoulder. So no conditions. If someone's best game in life is not thriving in their ventral vagal state, it's clear why. there's answers. I'm understanding it. There's no monster. You see what I'm saying? So you don't impose on someone to go and get themselves into their ventral vagal state, because that's a journey that is of a very, very, very personal nature, which involves a lot of different things, which is nothing to do with my body. I'm not the one with self-loathing, gut wrench, torn apart inside of me, and trauma charges that who knows what's going to come up, that are going to be a lot, as Patrick Chan points out, tiresome. And I've asked people who go to therapy, once they're done, they're happy, but every time they've gone, so it takes a person who wants that. And so you don't make somebody do it. And so you don't present that level of a condition. It has to be, obviously, this is where, to me, physical safety. So as long as you're a person who can speak your truth, you can use that which is called healthy boundaries. Dr. Daniel Fox presents a lot of different equations for this one. And yeah, it's not let me shame you, blame you. I don't need to humiliate or do any of it. I don't even need to talk to you about therapy in that way, because there's no need. Many people I've spoken to, between mystics and not, about that which is the education that I've gotten, they will consistently not notice that they are not navigating self-regulation. They navigate dysregulation. They have maladaptive patterns. These are men and women. They play a little gratification game. They are like cat and mouse, Tom and Jerry, Peter Pan, Lost Boys. That's why they're all on this lovely pseudo-live, very not lovely journey. And that's why, though, they follow the same ones who tell them not to go to therapy, and that the modern day therapists are bullshit, or that they are trying to imprison them or to hold them back or force them to get into their fields. It's like they're not doing any of that. They're actually allowing people who want to thrive, because they're going to teach them how to self-regulate. You don't have to do it. And so the cognitive dissonance and structural dissociation and the rebuttal of those who don't want to meet their 3-year-old is what you will spot in 3D, 4D land. And then you'll see their teenage version, which is still holding on to good and bad, evil and da-da-da. They're sensationalizing everything. They need to rise from the ashes. They're motivated with savior complex, with emotional interdependency. This is not a relational joy. This is people who could use Terreal so they could become that which is eventually their sense of self, with healthy boundaries. And once that's happening, I'm already here. That's why I said, you don't fuck with me or my biosphere. By the 3rd hit, I will know you don't give a shit. By the 5th hit, I will know all of your facade hands, like my facade friend. Because I'm attachment trauma educated, I will know that you commit to your emotionally immature lifestyle. That's it. It's not hard. Therapy Nutshell Lady, she gives a really good video with a lady who gives you a model of how to work with those who are emotionally immature. I didn't need it, because I've been working with emotionally immature people since I was a kid, because I'm emotionally aware. And so I'm able to address my immaturity. This is what I'm trying to say. So ego's here for Maria too. Difference is I'll take ownership, and then I'll allow myself to remember if it can work out or not. And if it doesn't, I'll be like, it's not working out. My emotional satisfaction is never shut out. It's always here. But this is where, once you recalibrate, like with my facade friend, Terreal's talking about that part. It's okay, now that I know that this is where you're at, you have no room for my feelings. I don't need you to. Would I like you to? Of course, but it's not a condition that I need you to, because I can self-regulate just like a securely attached, non-traumatized person can do. And actually, I do it way better, because I have compassion towards myself, and I don't crap on my 1-year-old for being a worry wart. I don't crap on my 3-year-old for being scared. I don't crap on my 7-year-old. I don't treat myself like shit, and I don't actually act like it's meaningless, which is the part of where every one of us with a child will be like, yeah, that's mean. And I don't like you, and that's it. I'm not going to like it. So when ego's in town with a Cusco attitude, but you're not Cusco, we're humans, we don't get unseen. That's why you are going to be able to stay open-hearted, self-regulating. You differentiate, like Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, and so you discern easily. My nervous system was good, their nervous system is here. Then, because we all have this biosphere, we have a dynamic, we end up building a dynamic together, so we tango, and you continue to tango. And that's the part of where it's because you don't lose your sense of self to anyone or to anything. And you're not expecting others to treat you the way you treat them. And you're not expecting anything in general, because again, that's the part of where if you're expecting someone to be yourself, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? So this is the part, differentiated selves. You're going to be you, I'm going to be me, and we're going to be happy. So love is, I want you to be happy. If your happiness is your B game, then that's your happiness. I'm going to be happy for you. And it's genuine. For as much as I tease, what I tease is because it is irritating to see the brothers and sisters of mine who won't access their A game. But that is why I'm the healthy perfectionist. And as that Enneagram points out, the perfectionist, when you read it, it's like you forget that everybody else has a way to get to their wholeness. And I'm like, nope, I didn't forget. I know. That's why God taught me not to play know-it-all by the time I was 20, because otherwise I'd probably be the same annoying kid I was. And I also was told, but you don't listen to what we do. And I was like, wow, you're so right. I'm such a hypocrite. Thank you for pointing it out. You know what? Yes, I don't. You're right. I should have. Now that I know, I won't do it anymore. I'm so sorry. And you mean it, because at the end of the day, I have an ego. And I will make sense to myself. Differences I learned from smart human beings. So I'll discern when I'm hearing bullshit from the ones whose mouths work really great for the ones who don't notice that their dogma's all over it. We all have ideas. We all have food for thought. We all have subjective experiences that can contribute. I was going to look for some quotes, but I have to go. What I was trying to say, and so yeah, by the end of this, the live will have began. People who lack to be aware of that, which is we're all going to do this thing of ego, but ego has fun with self, and then it has fun with each other when there's a complete relational joy. So the experiences we want each other's to continue to expand and become who we can be. So if you need the mask because that's like my facade friend, what you're going to need in life, that's it. It's not your best health, no, because you're not in your ventral vagal state, but it is what you were able to bring yourself to. And again, when you hear about what trauma feels like as it comes up, it ain't something small. You will try a new way of making your favorite drink. I found them. A happy heart makes a happy life. And when you are comfortable, you can do anything. Use stress, not comfortable in the maladaptive. To be patient is to trust in the timing of life's events. Your reasoning is convincing and leads to success. That's if you're a smart brain. If you are instead a brain that thinks of things in ways that are, I want to do it my way because I decided, but it's not a healthy way, it is what it is. So you get to just see people continue to copy each other. But again, let's leave it alone to another day. In the meantime, welcome aboard. Join us here at IHP and join us on TikTok.